Hello everyone, and welcome to my Soap Twist 24 channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Lee stood in her hospital office, holding a medical chart with shaky palms. The pristine setting, with its glistening surfaces and subtle antiseptic odor, did nothing to quiet her racing mind. She had always been a lady in control, with her life methodically planned and her emotions under control. But today, control was slipping. Luna, with her sparkling eyes and infectious joy, had begged to meet her, and Lee understood why. The inquiries had been building, subtle at first, then more direct. Luna sensed something, a connection that extended beyond their business engagements and informal encounters at Forrester Creations. The young woman had strong awareness, and Lee could no longer hide behind half-truths. It had all started years ago, in a part of Lee's life she had tried to forget. She was young, just out of medical school, and caught up in a whirlwind relationship with a man who promised her the world but only gave her heartbreak. Their romance was brief, a passionate mistake that left Lee pregnant and lonely. She was afraid, not just of the controversy it would cause in her Orthodox family, but also of the future she faced as a single mother in a world that judged harshly. Adoption appeared to be her only option, a means to offer her pregnant child a life she could not provide. So, with a heavy heart, Lee gave birth to a baby girl and gave her up to strangers, feeling it was the greatest option. That girl was Luna. For years, Lee hid her anguish by focusing on her work, marriage to Jack, and parenting Finn, the kid she and Jack subsequently adopted. She convinced herself that Luna was better off and that the past had been sealed. But fate, as it frequently did in the world of the bold and the beautiful, had other ideas. Luna had gone to Los Angeles for the splendor of Forrester Creations, completely unaware that her biological mother was much closer than she could have imagined. Lee recognized her right away, the shape of her eyes, the curve of her smile, and the way she carried herself with quiet confidence. It was like witnessing a ghost, a living reminder of the decision that had tortured her for more than 20 years. As Luna's presence became more consistent, Lee's carefully built defenses began to disintegrate. She observed from a distance as Luna handled the complexity of the Forrester family, her charm and talent gaining her a place among them. But every grin Luna gave Lee, every laugh that rang through the halls, stabbed her heart. She longed to reach out and claim her daughter, but fear held her back. What would Luna think about her? Would she resent her for abandoning her? Would the truth shatter the life Luna had created? The breaking point occurred on a peaceful afternoon when Luna cornered Lee in her office. The hospital was unusually quiet, the hum of equipment providing a soothing background to their chat. Luna's eyes were probing, and her voice was steady yet full of emotion. "Lee, I need to know the truth," she stated, her fists held tightly in front of her. "There is something you are not telling me. I can feel it. There is always a sense of distance when we converse, as if you're holding something back." Lee's throat clenched. She tried to divert, to offer another vague comfort, but the weight of Luna's gaze was too much. The young woman deserved to know the truth, no matter how unpleasant. Lee placed the chart down, her movements slow and methodical, as if prolonging the inevitable. She motioned for Luna to sit, and they slid into the chairs across from her desk. The stillness lingered, oppressive and suffocating, until Lee spoke. "Luna," she began, her voice barely above a whisper, "I have something to tell you. Something I should have told you a long time ago." She hesitated, her gaze drawn to her hands, which twitched anxiously in her lap. "I am your mother. Your biological mother." The words hung in the air, harsh and unforgiving. Luna's face froze, her eyes widening as the gravity of the discovery hit her. For a moment, neither spoke. The only sound was the quiet ticking of the clock on the wall, which marked the seconds of an unchangeable reality. "My mother?" Luna's voice trembled, a mix of surprise and dawning awareness. "But how? Why haven't you told me?" Lee's eyes welled with tears, but she pushed herself to meet Luna's stare. "I was young, Luna. Too young and afraid. I felt I was doing the right thing when I gave you up. I expected you to have a better life, than the one I could provide for you. But not a day goes by that I don't think of you, wonder about you, and regret letting you leave." Luna's hands trembled as she processed the words. She had grown up in a wonderful adoptive family, but there was always an emptiness, a question mark where her roots should have been. Now the solution was in front of her, in the guise of a lady she had admired but never truly known. "You knew," Luna replied, her voice rising. "All this time, you knew who I was but didn't say anything."
"Why?"
"I was afraid," Lee confessed, her voice breaking. "I'm afraid you'll despise me. I'm afraid of what it will entail for you, Finn, and everyone else. I thought I could protect you by remaining silent, but I now understand that I was mistaken. You deserve to know the truth, and I failed you." Luna rose up abruptly, her chair scrapping against the floor. "Did you fail me?" she said, her voice full of intensity. "You allowed me to grow up without a mother, without knowing who I was. Do you know how that felt? Always wondering why I wasn't enough for you to keep?" Lee flinched as if struck. "Luna, you were enough. You were everything. I gave you up because I loved you and wanted you to have a life that I did not believe I could provide. But I now realize that it was a mistake. I should have battled for you." The room seemed to shut in on them, the air heavy with anguish and unsaid questions. Luna paced, her hands running over her hair, her thoughts racing. She had gone to Los Angeles looking for a new beginning, a place to belong, and now she was confronted with a truth that challenged all she thought she knew. Lee watched her, tears running down her cheeks, knowing that no apology could erase the years of isolation. "I don't know what to do with this," Luna remarked finally, her voice lower and tinged with fatigue. "I'm not sure how I feel about you or all of this. I need time." Lee nodded, her heart throbbing. "I understand. I will give you as much time as you need. But, Luna, please know that I love you. I usually have." Luna did not answer. She turned and exited the office, the door clicking shut behind her, leaving Lee alone with her regrets. The silence was deafening, a harsh reminder of the years she'd lost, the moments she'd never get back. She dropped into her chair, face buried in her hands, and let the tears fall. In the days that followed, the Forrester mansion was filled with murmurs about the disclosure. Words spread swiftly, as it always did in their environment, and the family struggled with the consequences. Finn, Lee's adoptive son, was astounded to discover that he had a sister, a biological link to the mother who had reared him. He confronted Lee, his emotions knotted in a web of allegiance and betrayal. "How could you keep this from us?" he demanded, his voice harsh. "From me? Or from Luna?" Lee had no simple solutions. She explained her choices and anxieties, but even she found the words hollow. Finn's rage subsided over time, replaced with a glimmer of optimism that he and Luna could form a bond, but the schism between Lee and her children, both biological and adopted, would take time to heal. Luna, on the other hand, was having difficulty adjusting to her new surroundings. She found consolation in her work at Forrester Creations, immersing herself in designs and meetings, but the reality followed her like a shadow. She found herself studying Lee from a distance, noticing the little similarities between them, the way they tilted their heads when deep in thought, the cadence of their laughing. It was both soothing and terrible, a reminder of what might have been. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, coloring the sky in orange and pink, Luna found herself at the beach, where she had often gone to think. The waves crashed regularly, providing a calming contrast to the mayhem in her heart. She sat on the sand, knees drawn to her chest, and let her mind wander. She didn't hate Lee, not particularly. The fury was hot and stinging, but underneath it was a longing, a want to understand, connect, and find a way ahead. Lee stood alongside her, seemingly summoned by Luna's thoughts. She remained a few feet away, timid, her hands clutched tightly. "Can I sit?" she asked softly. Luna nodded, and Lee dropped herself to the beach, maintaining a polite distance. For a while, they sat quietly, the waves filling the gap between them. Finally, Luna spoke. "I don't know if I can forgive you yet," she continued, her voice calm but weak. "But I want to try. I want to get to know you, Lee." Lee exclaimed, "Not just as a doctor or friend, but as my mother." Her eyes shone with hope. "I'd like that," she whispered. "More than anything." It was far from a fairy tale conclusion. The journey ahead would be plagued with difficulties, times of doubt and pain. However, in that calm moment on the beach, with the waves whispering their eternal secrets, Lee and Luna made the first hesitant step toward mending. In the world of the bold and the beautiful, where love and grief were as continuous as the tide, this was just the beginning, a sad, beautiful beginning to a story that would go on for much longer. The days progressed into weeks, and the revelation reshaped their relationships and tested their ties. Luna began to spend more time with Lee, inquiring about her background, decisions, and regrets. Lee responded as honestly as she could, baring her soul in a way she had never done before. It was heartbreaking but also liberating, providing an opportunity to recreate what had been lost. Finn, too, had a part in their voyage, serving as a liaison between mother and daughter. He told Luna stories about their childhood, about Lee's courage and devotion as a mother, which helped her see herself in a new light. The Forrester family, a complicated web of loyalties and conflicts, rallied around Luna, providing assistance in their own imperfect ways. Ridge and Brooke, Steffi and Hope, they all had their own dramas, but they made room for Luna's, realizing the significance of her discovery. However, the grief persisted, a silent undercurrent in their lives. Luna felt the anguish of years of wondering, the what-ifs that would never be addressed. For Lee, it was the remorse of a childhood decision that had affected both their lives in ways she could never reverse. They traversed this sadness together, finding moments of joy amidst the pain, shared laughter over coffee, quiet chats about their dreams, and the gradual formation of a fragile yet passionate friendship. Finally, their story was about learning to accept the past rather than deleting it. It was about flawed and imperfect love, and having the guts to confront the truth, no matter how painful it was. In the bright, chaotic world of the bold and the beautiful, Lee and Luna's journey demonstrated the power of family, not the one you were born into, but the one you chose to fight for. Lee had grown accustomed to the weight of stillness, and it had become her shadow. Every breath, every glance at Luna, and every soothing word she managed to give her niece, or so the world thought, contained a concealed reality. The kind of truth that breaks a heart each time it is remembered. She vowed herself Luna would never know. She had convinced herself that hiding the truth would protect her. However, there comes a point when secrets are no longer kept hidden, and silence becomes louder than words. That moment struck like a storm one afternoon, offering no escape. Luna had always admired Lee as the strong, steady hand who carried dignity like a crown. But beneath the glossy veneer lay a wound that never healed. Lee remembered every detail of that night, years ago, when Luna first entered our planet. The hospital lights, the chilly scent of antiseptic, and the sound of her own labored breathing as she held her daughter for the first time. Yes, her daughter. Not her niece. Not somebody else's child. The truth was etched in Luna's heartbeat, grin, and the way her eyes shone when she was happy. However, for years, Lee had told herself that she was merely the guardian, the aunt, because stating differently would compel her to confront the mistakes that had defined her life. The day it unfolded began as any other. Luna approached her, eager and charming, her voice full of optimism, reminding Lee of herself at that age. However, Luna asked a question that stopped Lee's heart. "Aunt Lee, why do you feel like you know me better than anyone else? Like, when I look at you, I feel like I'm looking at myself." Lee smiled, attempting to conceal the sting that surged in her chest. "We are family, Luna. That's why." "Blood runs deep," Luna said, her eyes narrowing as if she could see through the thin veil of justifications. "It is more than that. I'm not sure how to explain it, but sometimes I feel like you're hiding something from me." The pause was too lengthy. Lee felt the walls surrounding her heart shatter. She had created them for years, but under Luna's stare, she couldn't keep them up. Her voice broke when she muttered, "There's something, and I'm not sure whether you'll ever forgive me for it." Luna blinked, her face filled with perplexity. "What do you mean?" The room felt suffocating. Lee's hands trembled as she clenched them together, attempting to gather strength. The truth had to come out. It had claws and was tearing her apart on the inside. She swallowed hard, tears welling in her eyes. "Luna," she said softly, "you've always thought I was your aunt, but that isn't who I am to you." Luna's lips parted, her breath caught. "What are you saying?" Lee closed her eyes. The words were sharp, but they needed to be said. "I am your mother. I'm your biological mother." The world appeared to halt. Luna gazed, her face pallid and her eyes wide in shock. "No, that cannot be true. My mother, the woman you thought was your mother, nurtured you. She provided you her love and attention. I let her because I couldn't. I was too young, afraid, and broken. I make decisions that I regret every day of my life. But you've always been mine." The silence that followed was awful. Luna stepped back and shook her head. Her voice crackled. "You've lied to me my entire life? You led me to assume she was my mother, but it was actually you." Lee's tears finally overflowed. She reached out, but Luna backed away. The rejection wounded more deeply than any sword. "I thought I was protecting you," Lee muttered. "I felt giving you a steady existence, a family free of scandal, was the greatest thing for you. I wanted you to have everything I couldn't give you," Luna said, her anguish palpable. "You snatched the truth from me. You took my right to know who I am. Do you know how that feels? To have your entire existence abruptly turned upside down?" Lee nodded slowly, her shoulders quivering with the weight of years of guilt. "Every day, I imagine this moment. I assured myself you would despise me. I told myself you wouldn't understand. And perhaps you won't. But I couldn't continue lying to you. You need to know the truth, no matter how much it hurts." Luna's tears matched her own. She turned aside, clutching her chest as if to keep herself together. "I don't even know who I am anymore," she said. Lee wanted to hold her and assure her that she was still Luna, the same wonderful soul she had always been. But she knew words couldn't heal this wound. This was a fracture that time may never cure. Memories flooded back to Lee, unwanted yet persistent. She grieved as she gave Luna away, and she stayed up nights listening to the silence, longing for her baby's screams. The jealousy she felt when Luna addressed someone else as mom, while telling herself it was for the best. She had endured everything because she believed that forsaking her truth would shield Luna from a harsher fate. But now, as she stared at her daughter's shattered countenance, she wondered whether her quiet had caused even more anguish. Luna's voice was soft, but each word sounded like thunder. "I'm not sure if I can forgive you."
Not now.
"Perhaps not ever." Lee dropped her head. "I'll accept it. I'll carry it. I deserve your rage. I deserve your hatred. But I want you to know that, even if you never forgive me, I still love you. I've always adored you. More than anything." The room was filled with anguish, two souls shattered by truths delivered too late. Luna went without saying anything else, her footsteps echoing as a farewell. Lee collapsed into the solitude, sobbing uncontrollably. She had finally confessed the truth, but it came at the cost she had always feared, losing the daughter she had secretly loved for so long. Days passed, each one heavier than the previous. Lee went about her daily routine, but the emptiness she felt was intolerable. Everywhere she looked, she saw reminders of Luna, her laughter, her vitality, the way she used to light up the room. And now it was all gone, leaving an emptiness that she couldn't fill. She wondered if Luna would ever return, and if time would smooth the sharp edges of treachery. Or maybe this was the outcome she had deserved, a lifetime apart from the one person who meant most. For Luna, the truth was a blessing and a curse. She suffered with betrayal and the agony of knowing her existence was based on a lie. But deep down, there was a glimmer of comprehension. She noticed how Lee's eyes held years of pain and how her voice quivered when she confessed. She knew love existed, even if it had been veiled beneath layers of stillness. And, just maybe, that love will one day be enough to restore what has been broken. But for the time being, the story remained one of heartbreak, a mother who kept her secret for far too long, and a daughter who was forced to carry the weight of a truth she had never wanted. Lee sat alone at night, mumbling words into the silence that she wished Luna could hear. "I apologize. I love you. I'll wait for you no matter how long it takes." And in the silence, her tears flowed anew, since love cannot always erase the past. Even in the face of despair, sometimes all that is required is to maintain hope.